Hello, my name is James Boldin. I'm the horn professor at the University of Louisiana, Monroe. Today we're going to be talking about the LMEA All-State Etudes Set 4 for horn. First we're going to talk about Coprash, number 27. What I tell my students with this one is don't sacrifice accuracy for speed. It doesn't need to go blindingly fast, especially if you are missing ends of phrases and clipping notes or chipping things that could otherwise be accurate at a slower tempo. I would suggest starting this somewhere when you practice it around quarter note equals 60, maybe even slower. Another really good tactic is to change the articulations. For instance, instead of playing the written articulations at the beginning, you could play it all tongued. Play it all slurred. And any variety of combinations, limited only by your own creativity. You could try lots of different things. Another tactic that I like to tell students about is to only play the first of each group of 4/16ths starting out, then add the second, then add the third, and then the fourth. So I'll demonstrate that. So I'll play the pickup note, but then I'm going to show you what I mean. So I only played the first 16th of each group of 4. So I would, after I get really comfortable doing that phrase by phrase, I would add the second 16th. And then so on and so forth. I think that's a really great way to progressively add technique to this. Another really important thing with Coprash is make sure we hear the dynamics. This should not be at a uniform dynamic. And you'll find that, okay, if you're just humming right along and playing everything really, really well, make sure you are observing the dynamics. That'll add another dimension to this that you might not have thought about when you're just kind of practicing for just notes and rhythms. Make sure you're observing the dynamics. Make sure that notes that are marked staccato are separated, but notes that are not marked staccato, make sure that you're playing them as full value as you can. Try to relax as much as possible. Keep the left hand nice and relaxed and nice and loose. This one is it's deceptive because there's a lot of little places where notes can just kind of slip by you and you might get the wrong partial, like at the bottom of the staff you might get an E instead of a G, you might get a G instead of a B flat. One notable thing about this, if you look at the next to last measure, in some editions, what should be a B natural is marked as a B sharp. The B sharp doesn't make any sense there. It's got to be a B natural for it to make sense. So, as you practice this, practice in small chunks. Practice 4 measures at a time, 2 measures at a time, 1 measure even if it's a problematic one. In your zeal for playing fast as accurately as you can, of course, but in your attempt to do that, make sure that you're keeping a melodic line at all times. Even though this is basically a technical etude and not necessarily melodic. Try to keep a thread of some sort of melody or lyrical quality in your playing, and that'll help kind of connect everything with the ear. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Shoemaker lyrical etude. This is number 6, marked Allegretto, amabile, and grazioso is another little expressive term there, with grace. I think that's important to keep in mind here. There's some agile things to play in this, and there's some loud dynamics. You get fortes in there, but it's always in a lyrical style, not anything like forced or pressed, I don't think. If you want to number your measures, starting with the first full measure, I don't count the pickup measure as one. So the first full measure is number 1, and then I have a total of 59 measures going all the way to the bottom of the page where the DC is. You'll notice on my recording of this, I played through to the end of the first part, the fine, the double bar, and then I took a little pause and then continued. Endurance-wise, this piece can be a challenge. Just make sure you're relaxing and using your air instead of muscling everything with your lips. Play with as beautiful a sound as you possibly can. Think warm air with maximum resonance. Make sure you're vibrating every part of the horn that you possibly can. Mouthpiece buzzing is a very easy tool for developing good pitch recognition and good sound development. There's quite a bit of 16th notes in the first part. I'm looking in line 4, measures 13, 14, 15. And then another one in 22. Make sure that those 16th notes don't get swallowed. They need to be nice and clear. I like to think of using an assertive air stream for those. Don't just assume just because you're pushing the right valves down that the right pitches are going to come out. It just doesn't work that way on the horn. One point of phrasing, I change a breath in measure 28 and 29. It's after that second of 2 pairs of long held E's at the top of the staff. I like to take a breath after the half note tied to the 8th in measure 28 instead of taking it after the 8th note in measure 29. For me, that works just a little bit better. smoothing out that transition, getting down into the low range. But try it both ways and see what you like. But that's my suggestion. When you get down to the con anima, the with animation, i.e. a little bit faster, I like around quarter equals 1/16. That gives us the nice feel of a little bit more motion than the Allegretto, amabile at the beginning. One little trick you might try, and something that kind of I hit upon working on this, is when you do these slurs up to the A's, try playing the low A on the F side and then using the thumb valve for the high A, whichever works better for you. You can play high A on thumb, you can play it thumb 1 and 2. That seemed to kind of make those notes a little bit easier, just going from a longer horn, the F side, to the B flat side. Maybe it was a psychological thing. But either way, I think that helped a bit. Take your time at the rallentando, give those accents a nice bit of weight. You can certainly work on your endurance by going back and playing the beginning, the da capo, if you like, down to the fine. This is a wonderful etude, and I hope you have a great time working on it.